Government House is often the scene of protests and petitions, but today a crowd of several thousand have gathered demanding nothing more than a final glimpse of Governor Patton as he leaves for the last time. I'm in Victoria Park where history is being made. For the first time ever, activities honoring those killed in the Tiananmen Square crackdown are being held on Chinese soil. Thanks very much, Jenny. Hong Kong Island geographical constituency is where some of the architects of this election, as well as some of its biggest critics, cast their ballots. Tung Chee-hwa, Chief Executive Tung Chee-hwa, voted here, as did Democratic Party leader Martin Lee. Now, despite their opposing views on the electoral arrangements, the overall significance of this day was not lost on anyone. And if you think moving from one apartment to another is a big job, just imagine the work moving from one airport to another. Here's how it's going. Let's roll some tape. Now, what made Kai Tak Airport so unique was that it was in the heart of a busy metropolis. And no one knows that better than the residents of Kowloon City, the neighborhood right beside the airport. They're looking forward to some peace and quiet, but as Chi Mai Chow reports, they're also waxing nostalgic. Xian, China's ancient capital, where East once met West and where President Bill Clinton begins his historic visit. But in the shadow of China's past is the face of China's future. Hundreds of jobless workers laid off from state-run industries hope for odd jobs. One estimate puts China's unemployment at nearly 10%. When a government-owned construction company folded, Chang Chun-fung lost his job and has now lost hope. But China remains determined to reform its crumbling state sector, while around it, Asia struggles with economic turmoil. It's in this atmosphere U.S. President Bill Clinton begins his visit here. And with $16 billion invested in this country, the U.S. is as anxious as China to ensure reforms succeed. But trade relations remain tense. China sells more than it buys, leaving the U.S. with a $50 billion trade deficit.
China enjoys so much anxiety to keep that deficit there, so China can earn more and more foreign currency.
The U.S. continues to block China's entry into the World Trade Organization, saying it maintains too many barriers. But analysts predict a breakthrough.
In the run-up to the summit, the Chinese have given some indications that they are amenable to further opening up certain sectors of the Chinese market.
And in Xian, at the gate where President Clinton will speak, some workers spruce up the past, while outside, others face an uncertain future. Rudowski TVB News, Xian. President Bill Clinton touched down in Xian, China's ancient capital, to begin his 9-day visit to China, which includes Hong Kong. High-ranking provincial officials greeted him and his entourage. Several cabinet ministers, including Secretary of State Madeleine Albright, are accompanying him. But in the wake of allegations of inappropriate campaign funding, no business people are following the president this time. At Xian's South Gate, the president received a grand welcome. Drummers and soldiers in Tang Dynasty costumes greeted him. He responded by greeting them in Chinese.
Ni men hao.
The president focused on issues which unite the U.S. and China and praised the country's recent advances and long history. He made a reference to human rights.
In this global information age, where both economic growth and individual opportunity are based on ideas, a commitment to providing all human beings the opportunity to develop their full potential is vital to the strength and success of the new China as well.
The president begins his trip amid a wave of allegations, among them that he actually compromised national security by approving certain technology sales to China. Given that, analysts say starting the visit in Xian was a way of presenting a more positive view of China and Chinese history.
Xian means history, so you accept China, from a historical perspective, and therefore make it American people easy to accept that U.S.-China relations should be appreciated from a long-term historical perspective.
The president also acknowledged the controversy surrounding his trip.
There may be those here and back in America who wonder whether closer ties and deeper friendship between America and China are good. Clearly, the answer is yes.
The day-long visit to Xian may soften his visit, but many hard issues await him at the summit in Beijing. The U.S. wants promises on arms control and human rights. The Chinese want U.S. support for entry into the World Trade Organization. Rudowski TVB News, Xian.